Okay, here we have an other asset, and we see in this example that we bought this asset in 2005 for R1,000,000 and sold it recently for 6 million. So our profit was 5 million. What if this had been a primary residence? All we have to do is select primary residence. We can immediately see that the amount going towards CGT has dropped from 5 million to 3 million. This, of course, is because the profit on a primary residence sale qualifies for a 2 million rand exemption. If the selling price was less than the 2 million rand, then capital gains tax does not apply at all. Also, with this community of property primary residence, the exemption of 2 million applies to the profit on the property, and the remainder is split 50-50 between spouses who each qualify for 40,000 rand annual exclusion. The primary residence exclusion is per property, however, and not per spouse married in community of property. This calculator will always use the taxpayer's marital status indicated on the personal details screen. The screen behind this shows that the code 4250 amount that SARS wants you to enter on the ITR 12 is the full 5 million rand profit. SARS will apply any exclusions and community of property splits, etc. The program has done all that for us, subtracted the 2 million rand primary residence exclusion, subtracted the 40,000 rand annual exclusion, and worked out that 40% of the balance, or 1.184 million, will be added to the rest of the taxpayer's income to be taxed at normal rates. Now let's consider partnerships, and I'm not talking about community of property splits here. I'm talking about actual partnerships owning an asset. We can use this very simple example on the screen here. What if 5 young people came out of varsity and bought a house together? They all live together in the house, and it is their primary residence. They each have a 20% share. What happens when they sell the house one day? Who gets what share of the 2 million rand exclusion, and who pays what share of the capital gain? Well, the program does everything for you. The law says that each person who has a financial share in the asset shares in the 2 million rand exclusion and shares in the gain for capital gains tax. This means that each partner winds up with a 20% share in the 3 million rand gain. If this particular partner we're concerned with here was married in community of property, then his 600,000 gain amount would be split between him and his wife equally. Now I've got rid of the partnership completely, and I've changed the purchase price to 2 million and the selling price to 2.6 million. Okay, we have no gain because the 2 million rand exemption on the profit of a primary residence. The profit is only 600,000, and in this case, and the 2 million exemption means there's nothing in profit to go for CGT. I just want to draw your attention to this field here where we can enter the size of the property. I'm going to enter a size of 3 hectares and see what happens to the gain. Suddenly we have a gain of 200,000. Why? Well, the law regarding the 2 million rand exemption on the profit of a primary residence says the 2 million rand primary residence exclusion applies to so much of the property as does not exceed 2 hectares. Because this property was 3 hectares in size, that means 200,000 rand profit per hectare. The 2 million rand exemption applies to the profit on the first and second hectares, but the 200,000 rand profit on the third hectare stands on its own and is liable for capital gains tax. In determining the gain amount, we've discussed the method where the base cost is known, and we've discussed the tab method. There's one final method SARS uses to determine the base cost in cases where you cannot prove when you acquired the asset or what you paid for it. If we remove the purchase date and the purchase price, then you will see that SARS uses the 80% 20% method, which means that SARS uses 20% of the selling price as the base cost. In this case, 20% of 6 million is 1.2 million. 6 million less the 1.2 million base cost is 4.8 million profit, less the 2 million rand primary residence exemption means a gain amount of 2.8 million. I want to point out that the 20% 80% rule method is very expensive, and you want to avoid using this method if possible.